So actually deciding to join the CMB was a very last minute decision. When I was applying to colleges, I was not planning on doing band at all, so the CMB almost never happened for me. And when I got accepted to UVA, I was deciding between UVA and Penn State. And so I went to Penn State, I think at the end of March, my senior year. And then literally the week later, I went to Days on the Lawn at UVA. And so when I got there, we went to the South Meeting Room, which is, where they have all the booths set up and, the police, that's where you get your rape whistle, all those things. And I was just so overwhelmed, I wasn't really familiar with anything that I'd been seeing around. And so I was like, I felt lost. And then right at the end of the South Meeting Room, there was the CMB table, and Lauren and Jimmy were actually there. And I decided immediately that I was going to sign up, so I filled out the information form, and then like a month later, after I had sent my acceptance to UVA, Kevin Chang actually emailed me, and that's when I, really felt good about it. And Kevin Chang was actually the alto saxophone section leader, so so it almost didn't happen. The only reason why I did is because it was familiar, and and I'm really glad I did, so it ended up working out. The CMB had a huge impact on, my student experience. I guess I just remember I was very happy that band camp, was before classes started, obviously, because move-in day, we had people to help us move in. I had friends the first day, which was, a big change from the week before that when I didn't know anyone. And so, the CMB was definitely a huge part of my student experience. I think it kind of molded it for me. It was cool to, have an obligation, to have somewhere to be amongst friends, to enjoy, what I was doing. And then, all the friends that you meet there are teaching you the ropes. And so it's cool to have people there that knew how things went, and that could help me, transition from high school to college. And so I think that was pretty much what the CMB did as a whole. I mean, mostly the friends part, because it was cool knowing that I could talk to upperclassmen about classes that I wanted to take, classes that I probably shouldn't take. It was really great having the CMB, there as a second family, to take me in. And I think the CMB was a huge part in, all of my day-to-day decisions, and I'm really grateful and happy that I was able to go through the CMB, because I know a lot of people, their college experience, may not have been as great as mine. And maybe I'm being biased, but I had a wonderful college experience, and I think the CMB definitely played a huge role in that. The first football game, of your college career is obviously life-changing. The whole, the weeks prior to the game, you hear, we're gonna march out in front of 60,000 people. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be incredible. And I mean, it's cool to hear, but it's a whole different thing to experience it. And so, coming out of tunnels for the first time was just wild. And I think home tunnel was where I was. And I was actually in home tunnel 2 out of my 4 years, I think. Yes, that sounds right. So definitely the first football game. I also remember all of the cardiac cab games from our first year. We won a lot of games by like 3 points or fewer, and they were all decided in like the last minute. And so for someone, who hadn't really paid attention to college football before, the CMB before UVA, it was really, really a great way, I guess I could describe it as a great way to be introduced to the college football atmosphere, and to be really excited and behind a team was really pretty awesome. Definitely the basketball games. I mean, I know that not football season, but CMB definitely played a huge part in basketball season. Being there for all the crazy games. I wasn't there for the Duke game that happened, the February when I was a senior in high school, so right before I came to UVA. So I missed out on a great basketball season, and it took a while for us to get better at basketball. But our women's basketball team was incredible. And one of my favorite memories was, going to LA with the basketball team for the NCAA tournament my third year, in 2009. Definitely the Journey show, just because of the overall experience with that general day. That also ties into my favorite football memory. And we did Any Way You Want It, we did Separate Ways, and then we did this medley that really focused on Don't Stop Believing, which is, everyone's favorite Journey song. And it was just, we did this really cool visual in Any Way You Want It, and it wasn't even really that cool, but it was innovative for 2008 CMB. So we at the end of Any Way You Want It where it was like da 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 da. Yeah, so I'm terrible singing, but anyway, we all did this move to the side, and the whole band did it in shifts, and it was just awesome. And that was really cool. Separate Ways, the visuals for that show. Actually, maybe the reason why I like it is because I actually helped set the visuals for that show. Now I'm thinking about it, and there's a video of me doing it. But that is neither here nor there. But yeah, the visuals for I think that whole halftime show were pretty awesome. And then again, just the experience. It was a night game. We played Maryland. We beat them 31-0, and it was just no one expected it at all, because especially since my second year, I think we only won 3 football games, and that was one of them. So. Or maybe 3 home games. I don't know. It may have been 3 games overall. Now that I'm thinking about it, we weren't supposed to beat Maryland that year because they came in their black uniforms, and I just remember Theo talking we were at a lacrosse game, and we were riding in the van over to the game, and Theo was like, Maryland's wearing their black uniforms too? Those are their deaf uniforms. I mean, no way we're gonna win. We gotta bring it. And so I just remember thinking that the whole time during the game, and and yeah, we blanked them in their black uniforms, and it was a night game, so that was I think one of my first night game experiences, so that was also fun. And then the Don't Stop Believin' halftime show, I mean, the crowd just loved it. They ate it up. And then when I was on the sideline, I played for Chris Long because he was standing right in front of me. And, I was trying really hard not to miss any notes. I don't know if I did or not. I was awestruck. But, yeah, it was just everything associated with that day was pretty awesome. My favorite song, though, would definitely have to be Legend. Legend of the One-Eyed Sailor, we did it. It was the first halftime show of my third year, 2009. We also did Children of Sanchez and Land of Make Believe, and then we closed with Legend. And I just remember the trumpets were at their all-time best in that show, and they really played for me, and that was my first song as drum major, so it was my first time on the podium, and that was a huge confidence builder for me. And I was assigned Legend, and at first I was really upset because I wanted to do Land of Make Believe because, I was familiar with that song, and then Pease was like, no, you're going to do Legend, and I was like, all right. And so I was really bummed about it because I didn't get the song I wanted, and then leadership camp started, and I remember we were outside in that god-awful tent, and it was so hot, but that's the first time I heard Legend, and it was, the soloist, McQuillan, I think, had a solo, Max, John Jacobson, Sam Mangano? Not really sure how to pronounce that. And then eventually Shanna in the beginning, and I just remember being blown away when I heard the trumpet soloist for the first time, and then immediately I was behind the song, and I was like, yeah, I got Legend, I wanted it the whole time. Yeah, so that was fun. So thank you, trumpets, thank you, Shanna, thank you, all of the soloists, everyone, that the entire CMB, for playing a role in such an awesome song. Yeah, so I think that was my favorite. I think hands down, Long Train Running. That show is a drum show. After we played that song, we spelled out Virginia, and that was the first time we spelled out Virginia. So you're welcome, current CMB. Yeah, we scripted it kind of. So it wasn't like we just went from one set right into Virginia. We started from 2 blocks, one on the left side of the field, one on the right side of the field. We had just come out of this dance, and then Abby and I both led lines, and we spelled out Virginia. I started with the V, she started with the A, and we just like met in the middle, and we high stepped the whole thing. And it was brutal and terrible while we were rehearsing it, but I tell you that the night at that football game, it was incredible the way it played out and the response from the crowd. It was definitely my favorite drill set, just spelling it out. I don't care how exhausted I was afterward, it just was so validated by the response from the crowd. So that was my day. The step touch was definitely, classic CMB go-to move. So I think I'm going to say this is my favorite visual just because of the song that we did it in and, how it all came together. But definitely summer nights when we did the step touch and clap. It was just great to have everyone just stop playing except for maybe one second, probably trumpets, I think. And everyone was just like doing the clap, and it was fun. It was fun. So I've been to 2 bowl games, one as an actual member of the CMB and one as a tag-along the year after I graduated. So I do have a memory actually from both of them. But for my official bowl game, CMB member memory, that was the December 31st. We were in Jacksonville, and that day was just an interesting day all around. It started out with the parade for the bowl game, the Gator Bowl. So the parade was miserable. Everyone was just really upset about it. When we were rehearsing for it, literally we would be in the cage just marching in circles, only right turns, no left turns, and everyone was secretly hoping that we would have a left turn so that everyone could just, fall apart and just throw everything off. But we didn't have any left turns. So, so everyone was miserable that morning, and then I think we did the pep rally after the parade, and the pep rally was incredible. It was so crowded. There was like no room to move. We could barely fit in there in the little spot that they had designated for us, but there were so many UVA fans. We did Tag, we did Rhythm of the Night, which was a fantastic song. We did Misunderstood, which was also a fantastic song. Now I'm kind of second guessing my favorite CMB tune. I don't They're all great. Well, not all of them, most of them. But yeah, and everyone, the crowd was just so responsive. They were all, drunk and merry and really hoping for a UVA win. And then I remember we headed back towards the hotel, and we were in store for some mandatory fun, which no one in the CMB is stranger to. So I think originally we were supposed to go to Celebration Station or something, some really kitschy, like little amusement park that had mini golf and a roller coaster on wooden blocks. So yeah, everyone was pretty exhausted, and no one really wanted to go, but we were kind of being forced to. And I just remember on the bus back to the hotel, Tony Robertson was like, "Mr. Pease, we don't want to do this." And Pease was so nice about it, and he started making phone calls. He's got like 4 phones on his ears. He's talking to Cook, he's talking to Brian Myers, he's talking to Jimmy, and he's like, "Yeah, we got to get something together so that not everyone has to go, but the people that want to go can go," and blah blah blah. And so long story short, we didn't have to go, so I didn't go. And we ended up going to get dinner, and the bus dropped us off in a parking lot, and then we had to go find food. And I remember as soon as we got off the bus, the only thing in sight was a Sticky Fingers. And so everyone, 250 people, shot for the Sticky Fingers, trying to get to the front of the line. So by the time we get there were so many people in front of us, and so we were just like, let's just walk until we find something. And I think it was me, Kyle Graham, Meredith Saunders, Kevin Chang, Sarah Dice, just like a bunch of people. And we were like 12 deep, and we just walked literally for like a mile. And we found this little place that wasn't closed on New Year's Eve at like 8 o'clock, Tijuana Flats, and we got Mexican food, and it was the best food ever. And I've been on the search for a Tijuana Flats ever since that day in Jacksonville. And so yeah, then after that we came back and we had New Year's on the beach because our hotel was right on the beach. And it was so awesome to bring in the New Year with the C&B and to sing the good old song, which to most people is known as Old Lang Syne, but let's be clear, it's the good old song. Yeah, but no, to sing that on the beach was pretty awesome. So that's my first bowl game memory. My second bowl game for the Chick-fil-A Bowl was definitely, again, New Year's. The game ended pretty late, so we weren't able to make it back to the hotel before midnight. So we ended up staying in the parking lot at the Georgia Dome and singing the good old song. All the people who didn't walk back, because we were pretty much free to do whatever we wanted after the game. But yeah, so we kind of stayed and sang the good old song. And then after that, we went out in Atlanta, and it was just one of the best nights ever, even though we lost. So just shows you that the CMB knows how to have fun regardless of the sporting outcome, because we've seen a lot of losses in our day.